Hey guys, what's up? I'm here with a review of a 1974 science fiction horror film directed by Larry Cohen, who directed The Stuff, a film about killer dietary dessert monster things. And I really liked that movie. And he also wrote Maniac Cop, which I thought was an okay movie. And tonight's movie is It's Alive. I picked this movie up from buybacks for $5 because I had never seen it before. I'd seen the remake, I liked the remake, and I figured I'd give the original a watch. Unlike many people, I actually like the remake. This movie follows a baby, which turns out to be a monster, and it kills people basically. So the film opens immediately with credits and a screen with dots floating around behind the credits, and then the music is creepy and yeah. So we're at the home of a married couple sleeping. The pregnant wife starts going to labor, wakes up. They go to the hospital, and Frank when they get to the hospital, Frank, the husband, goes into the labor room with his wife to comfort her, and only to be told you should probably get out of here. And then the nurse comes in and comforts his wife better than he could, which is kind of funny. Um, So then Frank is in the waiting room with a bunch of other dads to be, and they all decide to play poker. Then Frank goes out in the hall and to look at the babies in the maternity ward, and then down the hall, a dead doctor from the delivery room just comes out the door, and now he's not dead yet, but he comes out the door and then falls dead. And he goes into the delivery room to see all the doctors, nurses, everybody in the room except the mother is dead. The umbilical cord had been chewed off, had been chewed in half, and the the baby had escaped. Um, so the police show up to investigate these murders, the missing baby, the dead doctors, etc., etc. The police automatically assume that it was the um the baby that did it because the baby's missing, and the only other person in the room that survived was the mother. Again, kind of shaky logic there. Um, so so Frank goes home after. So yeah, Frank hears. Frank goes home after the doctors decide to send Lenore, his wife, home the next day when she's better. And on the news, and I mean on the radio, when he's listening to the radio on the way home, he hears a report about what happened at the hospital, and they mention his and his wife's names as the parents of the baby that killed all these people. So he gets pretty pissed off, and then we see the baby finding a woman in the middle of nowhere and attacking her, and this is where we get the first glimpse of this baby. Pretty creepy looking. Frank calls his boss. Frank has to talk to his boss, and his boss suggests for him to take 3 weeks off. Frank gets upset, but takes the vacation. Um, but actually, they're firing him, and he becomes somewhat of a media celebrity, getting mobbed by people asking him about the dead doctor and his mutant son. And that's where I kind of ended it, even though that's probably only about maybe 20, 30 minutes into the movie, just because I was getting into it so much. It's Alive. It's a really, really interesting little horror flick. A bit cheesy, okay acted, and the writing and acting is pretty okay. The puppetry is pretty good, along with most of the effects in the movie. Um, the music is very, very creepy. It has a very cool tone, creepy, weird feeling to the movie. Um, and it's definitely better than the 2008 remake. Uh, As I said before, I paid $5 for this movie, and it was definitely worth the price I paid for it. Um, it's it's I mean, it's not a horror film for all horror fans. Only fans of like killer children B movies, I guess. I mean, it's it's definitely a better killer kind of mutant child movie. Definitely better than Cronenberg's The Brood, a somewhat similar film. My only negatives in the film is that the film is a little bit slow. No, I'm not saying it takes like an hour and a half I'm not saying it takes like an hour to get to its point where it gets, creepy or violent. But it kind of starts out slow, then the murders happen, then a little bit slow. It kind of goes back and forth between like slow moving stuff and then fast moving murder. Um, but it's still, that's not a real big deal. The camera work in this film is very kind of boring, honestly. That isn't really much of a negative as much as it is just me saying it could have been done a bit better, but it's still good, definitely way better than the camera work in something like the August Underground films. Um, the lighting is a bit crappy at times with scenes that is just like pitch black, but it's light enough just so you can barely see what's going on. Um, but then all the other scenes that are in the daytime are very well lit and done and shot. Not enough of the baby in the movie, which is actually a good thing because it's one of those movies where it didn't show the baby in the trailers. It didn't, it kind of hinted at what was going on, and you don't really get to see the baby until about 30 minutes into the movie, and that's just a quick little glimpse. You don't get a full kind of view until the movie's almost over, which kind of makes it one of those movies where you just kind of wonder about it so much. And then the ending comes. It's kind of like in the Toxic Avenger, how they don't show Toxie's face until like the last 30 minutes of the movie. I think that's kind of how it feels. Um, on the gore meter from 1 to 10, 1 being something like the Corpse Grinders and 10 being something like Brain Dead. This movie's a 4 or 5. There's a decent amount of blood in the movie, a lot more than I expected from a PG-rated horror film from '74. But if it was re-rated, it could possibly maybe get a very light R rating or PG-13 rating if it was re-rated today. Enjoyable, funny, creepy, likable. Well, not funny, but goofy, likable, violent, bloody, and original, especially for its time. The film combines kind of the tension and creepy music of like Rosemary's Baby, another film that I didn't see until quite recently, and the violence, blood, and look and feel, the look of the children and kind of the feel of the film as from The Brood. And it definitely does the kind of same, not the same exact plot, but I want to say the plots to this film and The Brood are somewhat similar, but I can't. They feel and they look a little bit similar if you were to watch the movies, and then you're like, yeah, there's a few connections in there, and the baby does look kind of like some of the children in The Brood, um, but I don't know. Anyway, guys, 4 out of 5 stars for me. I like this one. This one was pretty good. Definitely worth checking out if you want to check out a good like killer infant horror film. Anyway, guys, I'm Biscuit Goose 69 signing off. Peace.
You're listening to a demo